Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, a place where you can learn about body language and non-verbal communication. Here, you're going to be able to learn about, realistically, all the signals and the messages the body sends, the truth, essentially, through behaviors and gestures and so on and so forth. Today, we're going to be talking about attraction, and we're going to be talking about how a man may attract a woman in the physical sense, all right? So feel free to leave a like, a comment, and a subscribe, and let's get on with it. So today we're going to be talking about the glutes of a male, all right? So this is the bum of a man. We don't necessarily talk about this as often as we could do for obvious reasons, but, it is a reoccurring response to, many questionnaires and many surveys as to what a female finds attractive on a man, and there is a biological wiring linked to this, okay? So, a strong, muscular bum is a favourite of women, but few understand why so, okay? Now, the secret would be that a muscular rear is necessary to make a strong forward thrust motion, and that's needed for successful transfer of the sperm during sex, all right, during the ejaculation, okay? A good thrust is in your benefit, as well as, the general pleasure prior to that, okay? If you have a weak or a fat back, you may have difficulty with this forward movement, as you don't necessarily have the muscular endurance and force to keep that in motion, and you may have a tendency to throw your entire body weight into the thrust rather so than just utilizing the hips, all right? For the woman, this isn't ideal, all right, because it just sort of isn't great rhythmically, and it might be just not as attractive as somebody who can handle the hips, such as, as we love a woman who can handle hers in the form of, belly dancing and generalized accentuation of such, okay? So it provides a greater chance of affecting, my apologies, it's an early morning, it promises a greater chance of doing an effective job as far as impregnating the woman, all right? And as we know, most of these biological urges, the creation of lust within each other, is down to the physical elements that can expose a fertile, powerful mate, a healthy mate, all right? So when we speak about evolution and the mechanical wiring of us and our evolutionary ancestors, studies will show that the gluteus, in particular the gluteus maximus, is primarily active during climbing, digging, running, throwing, which is a reoccurring instance, as we learned how to throw and became very powerful predators, all right? So throwing and other activities require the stabilization of the trunk, and the trunk is the torso, the chest, that sort of middle section of us, all right? Okay, so as our ancestors digged and ran and hunted and so on and so forth, essentially became our equivalent of a athletic individual, for survival purposes. We grew the gluteus, the bum, all right, proving that we are a good partner. We are the good masculine to the feminine, purely because we can hunt well enough for it to be evident on our physique. We don't need to speak a word, all right? And evidence would suggest that a boost in the scale of the gluteus maximus coincides with our ancient ancestors' usage and means of getting dinner and food and providing resources for our children and for our partners. So we still are the animals we once were. We still are that evolutionary ancestor. Our brain has developed and progressed since then, but them roots and that biological hardwiring still exists, okay? So if you're new to training or don't necessarily know how to emphasize The glutes, what you can do is you can squat with whatever you want, whether you want to start with body weight squats or kettlebell squats or use dumbbells or barbells, as long as it's comfortable for you, your lower back in particular, because you can be prone, if you do this with incorrect form, to hurt your back. All right, so squats and deadlifts in particular, both very strong power motions which will work your posterior chain and really highlight the hamstrings, the quadriceps and the glutes. Okay, as you know, women do like big legs on a general. Okay, it's a showcase of power, right? As far as accenting the glutes, you can do hip thrusts, you can do sprints, which would link into what we spoke about biologically as far as hunting goes. Sprinting and high intensity, high volume, high intensity sprinting workouts will grow the legs, and so will glute kickbacks. So they're really used to accentuate the glutes. They can be done on machines, if not used on cables, if not with resistance bands and so forth. So get yourself to the gym if you are interested in physically being more appealing to a woman. That's the basis as to why the glutes in particular are attractive. First and foremost, it's down to the hip thrust motion that is used to procreate, okay, as most of these sexual cues come from the physical body being fertile and healthy enough to create and look after children in the future. All right, hopefully this was of benefit. Hopefully there was some food for thought. If you have any opinions, please leave a comment below. I'll hear from you next time. Cheers.